So if you're already on Zoom, the teaching tonight is on Lama Atisha's Lamp for the Path. And there is a link to that, that document on the Kadampa Center website. And I can actually just drop the link into the chat real quick. Just give me a second. Okay, Khensur Rinpoche has arrived. Okay, thanks. We don't know which door he's coming in, though.
Page 73, Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Oi tempa chonde de shin shepa ja chopa yan da pa so pe sangye ri pa da sha su de pa de wa she ba je de chamba shebu halo jo wa la na me ma la na sangye chonde de wa cha ja do ba la ja do lo je lo tempo, chonde de
Tishin Shapa Rajumba Yadava
Sanje Riba Do Shasa Denpa Deva Shepa Jide
Jimba
Shibu Deye Kalo Jawa Lana Meba Lada Me Tumba Sanje Chungde Nebe Jawa
Shaja Dubo Lo Shanzo Lo Chedo
Shasa Chewo
tempo, chonde de
Sheba Rajumba Yadava Dobe Sanje Riba Do Shasa Deva Shepa Jide Chemba Shibu Deye Kalo Lana Meba Lada Me Nanje Denpa Sanje Nune Peja Shaja Dava La Shanda Chedo Shasa Chewo Sanjin de la Gomba de Bone Nane
Jide Dana
Chuche Zue Teze Keba Chela Chan Tala Nanda Kuna Chodo Zuzo Ishi Jazo Senje Lambana Traba
Jide Suna
Lome Wa Gombo Chunye Chela Chan Tala Senjo Demba Tume Dave Sendo Traba Chela Chan Tala Dra Chela Siba Suma Nyame Cheche Chela Chan Tala Ngombo Tuje Chedem
Tongche Chimpe Dembo Bo
Suna Yede Jazo Che Teje Chela Chan Tabe Deja Tawa Ja Gire Geso Deja Shida Deda Choja Ba Shijara Chela Chan Tone Choye Lama De Lava Dala Radon Shinge Damba Yende De Yendo La Yosha
Dala Tongche Dala
Shan Dala Shoba Chela Shan Dala
Kendo Chela Shan Sula
Dala
Todo Kishan So Shaja
Yeba Tongje La Chinda Ganje Tongye Je Nideba Namkada Chodo Tebe Shan Dala Kamara Re Mame Jama Saba Chavana Mila Loda Tila Dije Chena Teda Cha Senam
Daya Tade Sipa Ye Hombo Toni
Shenje Dada De Gada Nada Chiya Lade Sibe Tolen Roa Roa Jo
Page 93, the foundation of all good qualities. O yon ten kuki shikyu
Tenje Je Tse
Tenpa Lanje Tawara Leba Tone Meba Tuma Kuba Jimbe Tenpa Chenje La Leche Nye Taye Tezanda Shenda Nye Ka Teje Shenda Nye Te Kanda Nye Ba Lebe La Jeje Meba
Shewa Shinje
Liso Yo Chiye Cheba Ja Nyeda Jibe Chewa Tenpa
Shive Jeso
Lida Chema Ja Kana Linde
Shushen Tiwala Nyewa Tembo Nini
Nebe Zo
Tashi
Dajen
Tawa
Tawa
Nonje Pabo No Gezo Tata Drupa Shepala Tato Pada Dembo Shinje Lo Shive Mimo Dunga
Kanje Go Ye Deme Sebe Bozo Je
Nimi Vini Tabe Dewala Nini Chenpo Shewa Shinje Lo Namba Samba Tiye Champa Ye
Tenda
Shinje Mo
Shije
Ye Chenpo Ye Tembe Tawa
Sozo Tabala Draba Nyembo Sheba Chenje La Manye
Sizo
Nuwa Cheja Da Maja Nuwa Kaja Tena Tone Nuwa Droye Kajeve Chanje Senja Joba Chenje Seza Cheja Tere No Zala Kamba Mindo Ba Leba Tone Jase Domba La
Tembo Tabe Labo Shinje Lo
Lobe Yola Yewa Cheje Je
Yonda De
Yonda
La Tsuchi Jebo Ye
Shine La Do Sunda Deve La
Nyendo Jila Shewa
Cheje La Tomo La Jane Da Jabana
Teba Kunje Choje Doje De
Kesa Shive Jungo Tamba De De La Tete Mura Nanya Beja Nada Domba Sunga La Chima Mebe Banya Dede Sunga Chanjala Tene Jade Nyambo Ranye Nero
Chichia Done Tembaye, Tuja Nanjua Chole Miyawa, Tambe Suche Dropa Shinjela, Teta Laza Tembe Shinyada, Tuja Dripa Tona Shade, Shida Nage Pado,
Chibe Do Nyawa Jawa Chanjala Dozo Shawa Kanda Yanda Lama Dame Chichia
Chichia Pela Loja, Sada Loja,
Doje Changye Gomo Dojo.
Page 76, part of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Oi Papa Kencho Sumla Chak
Alon de ge da ge de ba de je la chu de ja bi ka ja ge ben be la ge lo ge ge do chen bo da chang je chen bo da ta ji da je da de ce jo de ne sa mo che ja ye che ja nong ra je ting ya za la nyong ba ju da ya san bo zhen bo chen bo ba ba che ge ze wong che che ra je ba ra da chen ba
Namba Tashi Pimbo
Nabo te da la 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 je je tong ba nong ba ta wo te ni sha de bo jang je san ba jang pa ba je de ze wong je la de ge je me so ri je bo nga la la shi ra je pa ro do che ba sa me che ba de ba de
Da la ba sha de ge je me ba da chang jo san ba chen
pa ba je de ze wong je ge ce da na ma cha re
da de bo la
de ge je me so sha ri bo ri je bo ri je Kang la la she la je pa ro do shang ba sa mo de ba de da ba sha de pim bo
nga bo te ta la ya ra shi je
tong ba nong ba ya la ba je za da wo su tong ba wo tong ba ni su wo
su le tong ba ni
she ma ye no tong ba ni le ja su je ma ye no de je da
so wa da de she da
de she da no ba she ba no tong ba wo sha de bo de da jing je tong ba ni se ne me ba ma she ba ma ga ba chen ma me ba chen ma do
wa me ba ko me ba wo
sha de bo de da ye na tong ba ni la su me co wa me de she me de je no ba she ba me me na wa me na me che me li me ye me su me
da me zhe me ro me ri sha
Ame che me do me ge kame ba ne yi che kame yi che nang ba she be kong che ba da yo me ma re ba me ma re ba se ba me ba ne ga che me ga che se be ya me do te she da de nga wa da kong che wa da go ba da yi che me to ba me ma to ba ya me do sha re ba da te da chang che san ba na la to ba me be she ra je pa ro da shan ba la
de je me de
sem ba da ba me le ta ba me le she je lo le she da yang ge le de be ta she da te sa da no ba je be san je
dong je jong
she ra je pa ro da shan ba la de la na me ba yang da ba zu be shan je da me ba san je da de da ye na she ra je pa ro da shan be Riba che me nga la na me be nga me nyo be nga du nga tam je ra da she wa she be nga me za be den ba she ba sha de she ra je pa ro da she be nga me
ba te ya
ga de ba ra sa nga de bo de ye so Sharibo, Jojo, Samba, Samba, Chamo, Tenda,
Shiraji Parada Shaba Samala Lava Shava
Tene, Chamtene, Tinga, Tele, Tete, Chanja, Samba, Samba, Papa, Shede, Wonshela, Lezo, Chechawa, Shene, Lezo,
Ijabo
Tete, Jano, Rijabo, Tete, Cheda, Cheda, Cheche, Temba, Teja, Shiraji Parada Shaba Samala Tije Shaba Nanja Jisa Yero, Chonde, Tije, Teke, Gaza, Telo, Telo, Shanje Samba Samba Chamba Papa Che Onje Da Tama Che Da Deme Kora Te Da Da Lama Lama Yedama Chasa Chebe Jite Yena Dije Samba La Ngamba Te Do
Yada Ngadi Para Sangadi Bodhi
Njama Ngajo Seje Kaye Deme Toje Shiro Duba Cheche Meba Shawa Cheche Radhe Mache Madame Shore Shida Guru Yeso
Giri Tondra Jeje Shiva Dhamma Nebe Chendor
Tamba Nreche Posa Tsoche Be Tashi Tejo Ten Lele Sho
Page 97. O Saji Perti Jushi Meto Tami Rahi Sangye Shindu Mitemura Hirokunanda Shila Jepasho Jetsun Lama Dampa Kenam Kiche Nukala Kense Jujinti Jitar Sampe Dujezima Laja Genchiki Charvavaktu So Idam Guru Ratamandala Kamilya
Sanje Chedo Tsoche Chono La Shangjo Bada Dane Chasa Dage Cheche Chebe Tsono Che Ndo Sanje Ndoba Cho Sanje Chedo Tsoche Chono Shangjo Bada Dane Chasa Che Dage Cheche Chebe Tsono Dola Pecha Sanje Ndoba Cho Sanje Chedo Tsoche Bada Dane Chasa Che Dage Cheche Chebe Tsono Rola Pecha Sanje Ndoba Cho Namo La Yeke Dolo Tone Jake Chabata Dama Yeke No Tang Roa Kenje Dano Chuntoba Toche Keda Dage Chite To Macha Nonge Tato Nyebe Senje To Je Jeve Tanda Tola Lalame Wayong Daba Zube Senje Jo Gombo Rinpoche Tinyewa Nida Chine Jo To Barasha Teche Da Cheja Chewa Cheme Suje Samose Nyombe Kero Nyombe Kelo Keche Jagrambano Jende Lama Tumbe Mengwa Jende Leba Sata De Sembara Cha 다 가서 시작하는 로로 소소 건너 야보치 그거 그래서 소소 집어 된다 많이 막 막에 세제 통 제제 된다더니 수시 삼모니가 소소 건너 야보치 그거 그래서
As I mentioned before, so we all need to set up positive motivations to listen in this teaching to benefit all mother sentient beings.
근데 다 다른 단다테 당가로서 주 예시 가지 제가 연어 동벌 안에 단다테 가로 제차 선바친 되고 요래서 대가로 가로서 때문에 다 때마 조된들 안에 가지 제서 tembe 고네라 안에 사스 찬사가 요래서
So whenever there's teaching occasions, we always begin with praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. So reason behind that is like to remember the kindness of the Shakyamuni Buddhas.
근데 지금 가로서 예대 시점 맞힌 데가 요래서 근데 내야도 저로서 가리 된다 이사래도 하고는 야보 요래서 예대 시점 맞아야 돼 예대 시점 맞은 데 라머리 손대서 그거라 론제 럼바도 론제라 시외시다 전에 소환 데가 요래서
So now if you wonder like why we recite this foundation of the good qualities after the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, so foundation of all the good qualities kind of like a request to actualize entire Lamrim path within our mind stream.
아니 시라니 보신 되고요. 그래서 시라니 뭐 내야 될 어느 경우 바제 가서 체내시 제발라 경우 바제 도서 봐 도베시다 전에 시라니 뭐 되고요. 그래서
The reason of reciting after that, reciting Heart Sutra is to remove all the obstacles that we may face in order to succeed into our spiritual practice or doing our spiritual practice successfully.
대등의 대시라니 뭐그 사모 동반이 저런 바테 쪼된 거요. 그래서 사모 동반이 저런 바테 쪼된 거요. 해서 나로서 경우 바제 도발아요. 동반이 도벨로 되고 초도 쳐바래. 제이자더니 저 라마 동반도 좀 아니 시라니 뭐데 수야데 쳐바래서
So it's like kind of like tradition that's been set by highly realized lamas reciting Heart Sutra. So main subject of the Heart Sutra is emptiness. So in order to remove the obstacles, so the emptiness is the best, the wisdom realizing emptiness is the best way to remove the obstacles. That's why we recite Heart Sutras.
어때서데 학교야데 시락 거기야데 시락 개체 모래서 저로서 지소노로 진예 시소를 니 가르 제거래서 도모 넣더니 제자 서마든 되거래서 대주교를 예대 시점하던 되고 요래서 내가 왜 전세도 소라와 아니 대주교들 시라니 못인데 아니 맨다 피고 요래서 대고야 전세도 학교 거래서
It's also good to you to understand the meaning behind reciting praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, then after that foundation all the good qualities. Then after that, reciting Heart Sutra in the near future, if somebody asks what kind of prayer you say at the center during the teaching occasion, then you can say, we recite prayer to Shakyamuni Buddha. So then after that, we recite foundation of good qualities. Then after that, we recite Heart Sutra. So with the reason, then you can explain.
근데 쇼체님이 전다도 저로서 되는 데근도 같아 준세 가르를 해서는 셔야지 그거 요래서
On the other hand, if somebody asks why this particular order has been, or why this particular order, all this prayer has been said, then now you have something to explain, So why praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, simply to remember the kindness of the Buddha, why a foundation of good quality, requesting, actualizing entire Lamrim path in our mind stream, why Heart Sutra, to remove obstacles.
다 자세 좀 샤와래. 근데 다와nye 전에 가 다게 개고 마시나 늘리 리바셰메데 늘리 몸하고 셰메도 어cer수 말해. 가르에 주시는 너다에 다전 저저 중에 매일 제바제 토비 간대로. 그러봐. 아니 개와 넘버 타바제 마체나 아니 다전 저저 중에 매일 제바제 토바도 마토바니 제바 타와니네 매아래서네 대중이어래서
So, Master Shantideva said in Guide to Buddhist Way of Life, obtaining this precious human life, if we don't utilize this precious human life to generate much merit as possible, so then this human life is no different than animal lives. So there's nothing special.
아니 다전 저저 중에 매일 제바제 토네라 개와라 Gewala Zegama de Hamako, tell Momayana, tell Mosa Chevati Amare Sungayores.
One should understand, so one should not like fall beyond the ignorance, like obtaining this precious human life, so then just fooling yourself, not able to do any positive things. That's the worst form of fooling yourself.
That's what say that say that sono to Gomba Jigayina, and the chichen de Jelo, the money to the also chichen de Jelo, the Yabochile Jungares.
So if you think like that, or obtaining this precious human life, I shouldn't fool myself, meaning like not doing any positive things, physically, mentally, verbally. So then once you understand that importance of this precious human lives, importance of these opportunities, so then it will help you to understand the importance of the spiritual practice. Once you understood that, that will help you to understand the importance of the spiritual practice.
Setanga Jesse Shavala Korogala Yotane, Nere Tawanye Chenek, Dagi Gagomatan, Dajan Jojo, Mili Chavach and Neje Tone, Gavache Machin and Hamare, son the Gumbache and Latane, Korogo Gavache and Latane, Ya Kartota, Satombola Ya Levares.
Even Shantideva, Master Shantideva himself recognized that obtaining this precious human life, so you better take advantage as much as possible. Otherwise, it's just fooling yourself. So that's why Shantideva did so much merit or so much spiritual practice. So because of that, he managed to achieve high realizations.
That also Chula Lojo Chene, Kale Jato Tesolo, the Coroso, Logel, Sigayina, Maros Hasson Yare, Maroso Tenet, Yakache, Techego Mares, Chula.
When you look at the life story of Master Shantideva, so then it's kind of like blows your mind, like we are not even doing the half of that amount of practice or dedications the Master Shantideva put into spiritual practice. So then we are even not doing half of that.
There is that. Naruso, Chinyamele Chebala, Takazu Shabano, Casa Baba, Tanel, Change Loja Damaterba, Change Loja Damatino, Lonyo, Lonto Tel Carrel, Sheba, Cosa Sosene, Sheba Chunga Lonja Ramba, Sheba Digger Lonja Ramba, Sheba Chemi Lonja Ramba, the Sa Senela, and then Naruso Tino Carando Togo de Mode, Soso, Juna, Sheba Chemi Lonja Ramba and Rogo. Roba, Kasi tell and Romatona, Sheba Digger Lonja Ramba and Rogo. Tell I saw the Loto. Roma Tobayana, Sheba Chungel, or Romana Manova Tayo Amores.
As I mentioned before, in order to us to practice, so then this is the teaching tonight is like a lighter path to enlightenment composed by Lama Atisha. So in that text explains like three scope: great scope, middle scope, small scope. So we have to try all our best to practice one of those like path. If best the great scope, if not middle scope, if not at least a small scope.
Tego as that, Sheba Chunga Casa, Nosa Loya Carre, Sheba Diga Casa, Nosa Loya Carre, Sheba Chimbe Casa Lonjan, Nosa Loya Carre, and it takes it that I call, Sheba Chunga Casa, the nation Nosa Legare, Sheba Diga Casa, the nation Nosa Legare, Sheba Diga Casa, the nation Nosa Longare, Sheba Chimbe Casa, Nosa Lonjan, the nation, Dodo Sichoro Soloma Lagares.
I'm going to explain to you, so if some of you wonder like what kind of like particular practice that you do when you are like in small scope, what kind of particular practice that you do when you are in the middle scope, and what kind of a particular practice you do when you are great scope. So I'm going to explain that to you briefly.
Sheba Chunga Garten and Yagar Dishina, Ladomaya Comboche. Toba ten the Yagores, Roba, Dendro, Ladomaya Comboche, Toba ten the Yagores, 10 Yagaya, Tiga, Suja the Carter, Magechabong gets set at the Yabochi Sungayores, and Magechabong gets set at the Yabochi Mazuna, Ladomola Chetogamares.
In the small scope, what you are like, what you're hoping to achieve, and you're hoping to achieve when you are practicing small scope, you are hoping to achieve high state, particularly like human state and also the celestial state. So in order to achieve that, so you need to practice like 10 virtues. Without that practice, you can't achieve those high state.
대선다 또 라모세나나 가르세나나 근조서로 샤송로와 대동 아니 렌데 야보스야 되레스 렌데 로바 렌데 야보스야 돼 렌데 야보스야 가르세 가보 게웨 레체나 대와 용거 요바도 나보 먹게웨 레체나 게와 용거 메바 둥아 용거 요바 텔 소노 야보지 땅가레스.
So then plus like taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, then also thinking about the karma or law of causalities. Like if you are doing something positive, then there will be positive result. If you are doing something negative, there will be negative result. So keeping that in mind and taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha.
렌데가 거대 야보 공바 징에 또 소거 가르성거를 단달은 가르서로 챈들 나사 두가 나라신 나네 그봐 나사 뱀무세 바존에 제 되네 나거들라요 걸어서 공바 제도 돼 야보이 나로 게 너무 이세네 되네 저거요 그래서 가르르지 대저와테 당 가르서 타마 받아서 내 나살아 소바 쉬나 걸어 둥아게 텔 둥아 셀 둥아 챤네 되고요 그봐 나 렌데 야보 공바 징에 돼서 그 둥아 제쉬나 대용 초거래 내가 소소소 레사사를 되네지 용거래 대 단다 용화 대용 뭐네 돈 가로서 쥐 넘바 타바지 제바이다 다리 용화래 가르래 주셔 다리 용화 될 뭐이 될라 로즈 용소나 다시 나서 제야요는 깨자사요 이제 매 그주세요 이제 그주세요 대 요디가 나서는 대 야보래서는 되네 고마지고요 소소 집어마도 메사지를 대나서는 되네 능아서 대대로만 다시 다원에요 말에 되네 이자 제보 도마토서 되네 고마지근도스.
So someone who understood like law of causality or karma very well, so whenever that person face physical difficulties, so they feel like instead of feeling very bad, they feel great. So they see this as like opportunities. So like kind of like talking to themselves like, oh, this is right things to happen in this life because I can ask someone to help, I can get medicines. If there's all this problem happens when there's nobody around, so that's much, much worse. So there's someone who understands law of causality, karma, when they experience some difficulties, they manage much, much better than ordinary people.
녀래를 나로서 그전에 소노 도도사 말에 손에 파자야요 말에서 봐. 나로서 단단히 공토 저도 제가 공부 제가에는 제마 소절로 나사라 소바 다 능하나서 쉬나요. 전에 능하 첨보체 용토고 말에서 소노 도도.
So we cannot say, oh, this is like this practice is like for like highly realizing beings. It's like it's not for me, so I can't do. So we should not feel like that. So we need to try. So we can't just say, oh, this is too big to tackle or too big to reach. So you should not think like, you shouldn't have this kind of mindset. Always need to be ready to practice. So, long.
세도는 알아서로 등하대 주는 야보요 그래서 등하대 인지면제 용거고요. 등하 매방 연주면서 등하 매는 하는 연주로 싸워지는 시야요 말해서 그봐 상주 삼바 사제 상주 삼바도 좀 잠벌리를 제와 쇼고서는 멜로자가 요래서 저소가 멜로자사 등하로 소를 셰대요 그봐 대에서 멜로자가야 가르를 주는 상선을 대화성 조선을 등하 용 등의 요하 등의 용거 요하자 용하들에 그런 연주고 손바대 야보지 용거 요래서
I think that we should not look at the suffering entirely from a negative perspective. So it also has benefit. We thought like some form of suffering is very hard. Practical is very hard to develop renunciations. So therefore, highly realizing Bodhisattva, they're purposely, intentionally praying to be born in samsara. So there must be some deeper reason.
등하대 쉬는 등하대를 치러 거고요래. 가르래 되시나 하는 가르쳐거로 다 라면이라 봐. 정 라면이 생겨대. 한번 당가로 솔리 시작은 시쇼대 당에 안에 대처로서 대제 시작이 있는 제만 산다 대소도 sheba chunge ka sa kar go ma to teso shiji tawa de da ge shin yi she ge des
So
de nge ge da de choro solo mo ne de sono to de ne she ge yin de ya bon dus
so the detailed explanation will give by these two gishis. So, but I'm just giving you some rough idea, roughly explanations.
shong da me ne seng ge te lo li je shong da me ne lo lo dong cha de de ge yo de dong cha ji ge no ja ni ja se jan de man cha lo dong cha ji de ge yo de de ni chen bo ne so ko ro so ge long xie te so lo nga yi kui se ya yang mo de kan be mo se ba che bo de是吧这从这学不写着呢可能说这了研究个什么没写吧意思那东巴早晚年的写呀要么的是
The Changdamini, if you are familiar with the mandala offering, so there's like the west side of the mandala called eastern, like the west, realm. So there are four like south, north, east, and west. So there called Chandamini, there's like particular name for that realm called Chandamini. So there people live there 1,000 years. That's been guaranteed. If you're born there, you'll live 1,000 years. But there's no teachings there. Teachings not available.
这一在大可能说这里么老东大去这个要一在，但是去早晚年的写了这个要么的是吧？我捏吧的，老东大去这把捏吧的，东大去我呢要讲你家说家对了你说真的这个要的，这要一在，俺可能这里么这个要一在，俺去这样的去这样的啥呢？这个要么的是小金的，小金的可能说了龙蟹这现在全部也在刚刚要么的，刚刚没一在呢去老有的用个要么的是。
So then one hand, they live so long, so like 1,000 years been guaranteed they live there. So they could live like 1,200, 300, 400 years. So that's the one component they get, they don't generate any interest into spiritual practice. So on the other hand, they have so much wealth, so they have little struggles. So these two things contributed them to have no interest into spiritual practice.
现在当然这嘞，东巴都是刚刚落了，东巴生卡有啥都，都是研究个东巴也不用啥的，我们里的出的七八的是。
So our world is the best compared to the different parts of the universe, like there's millions of universe. Our world is the best to receive bodhisattva, patimoksha vows, bodhisattva vows, tantric vows. This world is the best because it's like, it's not always like event is going up and down, so it's easy to do the spiritual practice.
这是在等你看出写完了这个，写不出那个时候，跟就是了，加上多活动，连着需要的做的，这是我这个看到的就是呢，嘛，让我都有到都说了写个要么的嘛的，呀，多呀，恐怕不要了，要么的是。
Yes. So in the small scope, the main primary practice is like taking refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and also like practicing law of causality karma. This is the primary practice that you do in small scope, and that kind of prevents you to be born in lower realms, and also helps you to be born in higher state, such as like human, becoming human again, celestial beings.
这说在俺都说呀，这个的，看着人家的，巴拉松个的不的说呀，这个呀，在从前昨天这个去东北送个的了，俺那德玛这个去的什么的是，的，呀，这完了，德玛这上的呀，牛是来的，呀，这个呀的是。
So we need to go up and up and up and up. We need to go up, not down. We need to go up. So that's why, as I mentioned before, they are the God, some God, Bodhi. So that means like going up. So the way to go up, so Shakyamuni Buddha, that's the goal. So therefore Shakyamuni Buddha's first teaching that he offers like Four Noble Truth.
这是我在写本这个告诉了，那电马写的，搞东部地区经过在那了，电马写的数码的是，这数码的看到的就是呢，电马写牛是弄的了，那样这个要在电马写的数码的是写本这个告诉。
In the middle scope, so primary practice is like Four Noble Truth, the middle scope. So therefore, Shakyamuni Buddha taught Four Noble Truth. So there's the primary practice in the small middle scope.
다 덴바제데 저로서 모시가 가르 영아 덴바 건주 덴바 고베 덴바 람제 덴바 덴바시 가좀 하고 그러면
망치 같이 하고 있는.
영아 덴바테 건주 덴바테 고베 덴바 람제 덴바테네 덴바제레스.
So you need to understand what are the Four Noble Truths. So Rinpoche asked, do people know? I said, pretty much they know. So first one is the truth of suffering, and the origin of suffering, then the cessations, and the path that lead to the cessations. These are the Four Noble Truths.
No tenone 덴바제데 뇨선론네라 아니 코발레 토거고 요레스 또또 덴바제 tenone 아니 다다테 가르고 다메바 로바 다메베 테데 뇨선론네테네 코발레 토거고 요레스 세번 리그 가서 코발레 토와 테네 예고 요아이사 덴바제 뇨선론 알레 테조 덴바제 뇨선론네 코발레 토거고 요레 덴바제 그노네 담보 둥아 덴바레스 테 둥아 덴바 테케 체쇼레 둥아 덴바 테 소노 돈네라 둥아 덴바텔 소노 야보제 돈소나 덴바젠다 서텔 레용게레스.
So now here in the middle scope, like what you are seeking not just seeking freedom from the lower realm, you are seeking freedom from samsara as a whole. So then, therefore, you practice Four Noble Truth. Out of Four Noble Truth, the first truth, truth of suffering, if you gain the deeper understanding of truth of sufferings, so then the rest of the Noble Truth understanding or realization will follow.
다들 뭐뭐가서 뭐뭐체 뭐가와체라마 둥아 덴바 생각다 가로서 서본데 사제냐와레미 품보테 가로서 품보데레스 내가 전에 단다 손제 조된데 그 덤보 둥아 시바샤根据 방와장 고방년도샤 너무 건바샤세는 숭바레스 둥아 시바샤자 사제냐와레제 품보데 예미데 시거요레스.
So I'm not going to go in very details, but what Shakyamuni Buddha said, like suffering is something that you need to be understood very clearly. So then the cause of suffering needs to be something that needs to be abandoned. So then the path and the cessation, there's something that you need to seek. So now, truth of suffering primarily boils down on basically this physical body, because basically this physical body.
다 누가 시도 가로 사제냐와레미 품보티가 예미 시가 사제냐와레미 품보데 요 사례는 알아서 누가 용용화래서 사제냐와레미 품보데 가로에서 사제냐와레미 품보데 요때 내가 칼라치사 그거요. 칼라사가자 사야지 거래. 뒤전달 갈래자 그거래. 그봐 아니 단한테 코로를 늘로치 개가래 말만 로제요 말와 코로를 늘로치 개가래 늘로치 전달 갈래치 자가래 다 도소요 단에 몇몇 흔들고 용이 너네도 강해요 말이다 도소 갈래 뭐지 자네마도 용토고요 말와 그봐 어떤지 전에 손도 가래 아니 코로 다가데 내사 공바치요 그거 누가 공바치요 그거 알아봐 그거 와서 뒤전달 용 갈래자 그거 누가 나로선 대바나 코로를 찾아가는 파친도 사고 못하치요 그거 누가 대우 산에와 시와 말이 뒤전달 갈래자 나 뭐라지 저는 거네 돈에 갈래체는 공바치가 사제년원레미 표모데 맨한테 갈래체는 자가 말해 사제년원레미 표모데 용사와이다 내가로서 갈래 뭐한테 맞아 런자테 텔투어레스.
When I said like this, like First Noble Truth, primarily is like focusing on the life, that body that we have. What it really means, it means because of this, so many complications occur because of this, having this physical body. So you have to eat. You can't just go hungry. You have to eat. So that requires energy. You need to work for your food. And also you can't just walking around with naked body. You need to put some clothes. So that also requires effort. So then here plus, like then everything that requires for food, for clothes, it's not like they just appear like spontaneously appear. You have to work for that. It doesn't just comes like this. And here plus here, you need also car to move around. This all, if you think very precisely, because of this body, there's lot of struggles because of this body just to survive.
그래서 다 뒤텐다 갈래자가에다 전에 소소소소가 갈래자네 같이 다시 4년에 매네 꼬마꺼가 아이 하고 꼬마꺼 러 맞을래라마 꼬마꺼 렌다마다 사가요래 가시가는 전에 선제 수고제네 샤주네 라마다 전에 선제 수고제가 야터서 그래도 사야가 된다래 마도 현다 가게 다와도 도제 정말 로비 셔도 말아 소소가 가르쳐가 다 내시존에 뒤된다 존조가 디바 모모지 사가가 디바 모모지 사가자 디벤데바 둥아래 전에 둥아 용용 말해서
So just to a lot of people struggle simply to meet the ends meet to keep this body alive. So then people do all kind of things, steal and all kind of so we end up creating a lot of negativities because of this body.
No, tenisa nyemete sonde ta saje nyawale me pimote le shenje tel dunga na so je yongo de ida saje nyawale me pimote to ta gandu sonne la tane nyole tele yongo re saje nyawale me pimote to mata wa ta mundu karere jende yo shenje tel tare dunga na so je yongo de ga se de ta gandu de ta wala ta karo gandu se saje nyawale me pimote kanisa ta gandu ta che chene korol jendu do mundu je de karere ta che chene la ane korol jete danzati shungu yobate hakone tene danzale nyembo tenela ane koali togo yores
Basically reflecting on the downside of this body requires so much so many things. So when you focus on that, then that allows you to generate some kind of wish to overcome from this complications. So then you're just going to wonder if this has any cause and conditions, then you'll think about the cause, why this complication is caused by what. So then that probably lead to the second noble truth.
그래서 당제 세대 나세네 슈치모치 소즈 가서 강가로 요래 다 교통지 좀 중요다 나한테 설 슈치는 될 차도의 슈치 챙겨 요소나서 뒤세거든가 대가로 수가라 다제 제가 나한테 소소 자체 뭐 쇼 진짜대가 될 때는 근데 저셔도 뜨면서 소바 강가 될 때는 용건도 가서 나한테 소소 자체 뭐 진짜 다이다 아니 파쇼 보데 내가 바바래 내 엄마래 나 주의래 니니래서는 잡아시시 그러봐 아니 나서 쉬고 진짜 차이다 아니 파쇼 보텔 때는 동 셰동셰네 그러봐 아니 차도도 나자도 차도로 소바 강아 나서는 저자 대단의 용건도 같아 나로서 다 취와에는 저절로 고마야 보지 거래서
So then when you think about the primary cause, so then it kind of leads back to selfish attitude. The stronger the selfish attitude, the complicated the lives get. And that kind of so then generate all kinds of disturbing thought, such as anger, pride, jealousy. So the good practitioner should spend enough time on selfish attitude. So because of that, so then from first me, so then after the mind, then the list goes on and on. My family, my religion, my country goes on and on like that.
대이다 다 사제 영화를 비모데 매바 가반에 용거 사거래 나세네 나제네 용거 여러 다 나데 매나 나제데 매나 사제 영화를 비모데 용어야 요 말이 점에는 대버 용거 말아 봐 제가 다 사제 영화를 비모데 매바 셔발라 나제세나다 단제세나다 어때 매바 제거근데 다때 매바 간에 전에 제거근데 당하로 줘와서 그 시도 배자 용으로 셔져 그러봐 당자 매바 제도데 가르래 주저 당자 매바 제도데 당자 코로도 저동이 생각에 로지가 매바 제가를 마도 현다 제가 그 매바 제도가 말해 매바 제도가 말해 그러봐 제대당 코로도 저동이 생각에 로데 가르래 주시나 아니 다음에 또 비시라 되래 제가 다음에 또 비시라를 공부하시고 해서
So all these complications deeply rooted in self-grasping mind, the mind that grabs so tightly on the self. self-grasping mind called Danzi, or like self-cherishing or self-grasping mind. That's how to translate it in English. So then now you realize, during this total analysis, you realize that is the one causing all these complications. So in order to eliminate that self-grasping mind, so then you need to understand selflessness or shunyata or emptiness.
That's why that's
why, as I mentioned before, that everybody should study what is emptiness, shunyata, need to read and think. So that's the reason why now you understand everything causes all the problem deeply rooted in this self-grasping mind.
Korodon Zatong is and Gaviloche, Mewachego at the Kari reduction of Pena, Mungashego, Combiano, Dubache, Osariso, Rova, Yosaraso, Tobas and the Corso Shade de la, and the Majala Chegatuno, Lonche Yamarization, Conjibate set of Marava, Radato Lonche Kagarava. Lonche Tsubi, the net Tonja, and Dona Lonche Meche, Tosa, the Dungeon Jeba, Poma Javan, Chaman, Mojan, the Tenova, Heta, Mungashego, Soso, Combanola, Dubache, Yosare Sone, Jita Shea, the Majala Chigo, and Dino Lumbache Yamarization, Toba the set of Maduas.
For example, like here, like if someone is very much worried, just having a thought, there's like huge snake in the house. Just like worried and like very much like frightened, thinking there's snake in the house. Somebody shows up, oh, there's no elephant. That doesn't help much. So. That person is frightened because thinking there is snake. That person not worried about there's elephant. So then somebody's come, oh, there's no elephant, doesn't really help.
Taganojiga Naroso, Sozo, Nai, Sone, Roma, Senza, the Parobo, the Roma Marization, Sozo tell Choco Negmar was. Then Sozo, Na, Senza, they tell Niemosi about Teto Gares.
So that's talking about like now what kind of direct antidote for this in order to eliminate or root out the self-grasping mind. So need direct antidote. You can't just like example like elephant, or there's no elephant, doesn't help. Need direct antidote. So that's wisdom realization.
That's on the Sheban Diga Gata, Dembaja, Tenone Latane, Umbani Lojo de Chegores, Techeba Latene, and Equali Togares.
In the middle scope, primarily you study or practice Four Noble Truth, and particularly selflessness or shunyata. That's how you gain freedom from samsara.
Soso Koale Toala Peng Digamares, Rava, Soso Chibo Koale Tonata, Muchi Chibore, Koale Toal, Dungani Toal Halegamare, Magi Sejato, Dungajanani de or was, Magi Sejato, Dungajanani de Nila, Soso Shiboda de Deno, Ted Kawani Yunga Mares on the Tacheban Dil Rogares, Chebachemol.
Then someone out there thinking, oh, like, if I be liberated, probably that's not good enough because there's all other beings there's been like kindness like this mother, so it's not really how you say like it's not appropriate. So then someone think, okay, then maybe I should work for liberation for entire living being. So that's the primary practice that you do in the great scope.
Aruso Toja Tatu de Lana Yonda Bazube Sonje Computer Ravas. Then Aruso Togo Maris on the Session Savani Chaya Maris. Mato Teni Chaga in a Maruso Longa Combat Savani Porto Mare. Te the Lana Yonda Bazube Sonje Computer. Te Tobish at the Gala, Central Top Mato no Terra Kasha and Top the Sozo Chegores. Then Anzo Togomare Shonju Semek Terravas, Pasha Jangina, Teri Pajana, Sonila Tagare, Nonyangala Tagare, Shawashamala Tagare. So
our ultimate goal here is like full enlightenment. That's our ultimate goal. So one should not think, oh, this is a kind of like goal that's set up by Bodhisattva, not me. So if you think like that, so then tomorrow you'll will think the same thing. Then next month, probably next life, you'll probably think the same thing. should not think like that. So we have to think that there's something that I can achieve, I can get enlightened. So it's very important to have this kind of mindset. Hope.
그래, 사모 동반이게 될 저로서 송거 동에나 정세지这边东巴去，정세지这边东巴因为现在感觉呢，等着的是，接了在那用个对吧是，是吧？接了在那用外的可能了用没把的是，这说能多的少的是。
So how one should think about emptiness like this, like free from independent existence. Why? Because everything is dependent. So this is the one way to think about emptiness, easiest way to think of emptiness. There's nothing inherent, nothing is independent because everything is dependent. So need to spend more time on that logic. So that's the easiest way to meditate on emptiness.
这弄的说，可得说去这个人来，说了查这个人来用，荣耀嘛是吧？看着热了点的用的，怕嘛你了点的凶是吧？是吧？怕嘛你了点的凶的吧？这说还搞个的，这怕嘛你了点的凶，这可着荣的需要嘛是吧？特别在那些个，这现在去看的人呢，热起了点的凶这荣些去这吧要嘛的，荣耀嘛的是。
For example, if you think about yourself, like that's not really independent. Right from the beginning, you are very much dependent because you happen to be here because of interdependent, not because of independent. So then when you look around, everything's like dependent. There's no independent. Everything is dependent on cause and conditions.
学到了荣些去懂嘛？这个日本蒙古要的，人家有听到做在等着是日本家不等着去这，听过的说那东西呢是。Even though
there are many logics that out there to help you to understand emptiness, but this one that I mentioned is like the king of logic. There is no independent because it's dependent on cause and condition. So that is like considered as like king of logic, even though there's many different logic to help us.
这来他说的，你叫做说了，喇叭意思是吧？别那把嘛也那用，不过了点的，不过没那把嘛谁个嘛的，阿妈谁个嘛的吧？这不过了点的，阿妈都爸爸托的个，爸爸都阿妈生个的，不过了点的，不过得了用，现在几三那个，这可能不过谁的嘛都，这用也要嘛的吧？怕是得嘛讲的是。
For example, like son and parent, you become parent because you are child. If not, then you are not called parents. Because child, because there's a parent, then you are called child. So these are all, there's nothing independent. Everything is dependent, interdependent.
呀，他这阿里都去这是吧？
This kind of like
我写完这个干啥了？东半年听到了，两百些电弄的，东半年听到了，说能多给呀，是吧？你看说你瞧了，从我写他的东半年都兄弟就写了，说能多给的是拉啥的吧？他东半年我们写多的他真的说个他拉吧，过电话中间的这的是。
These are the brief explanations, not the detail, but brief explanations how one should meditate on emptiness or think about emptiness, or focusing on interdependence. There's nothing independent, everything is interdependent. So as I mentioned before, when I offering the initiations, without understanding of bodhicitta, emptiness, it's very hard to succeed in Tantra practice.
这种说考完了做这个嘛的，嘛给现在同学了，电话都电话去接个问题是吧？看着的电话都电话去接个问题，这从这个也在打想去做的谁写个的是。
So now here in the great scope, you are like focus shifted. It's not about much about yourself. It's about now about the all living beings. So you are aiming to achieve full enlightenment. And in order to benefit every living being, that's your main primary focus. And then therefore, need to generate, bodhicitta.
这个他想就什么写都在了，那当的在的， Gente menga dunji gone se che to che dong, da je nyo je gone se che to ni yo re so. Te no ne ta, gente menga dunji gone se che to te loro no su ma no ji te ale she ko sama re so.
So there are like two quintessential instructions how to generate bodhicitta. So one is like 7 causes, 1 result, great intensively explained in Lamrim teachings. Another one is exchanging one with another.
Te gente menga de je do zong ne lo se che to je ma shi ga re. Ma shi se de se de lo ma chi ma to ma che wa nga ma no so ma mo bo che yo re se ne la ga yo re. Te de la ka bo re se ale she wa nga ma ke le ma le ha ko ma re. Ma re wa ta te ale ne ga te she ga mes.
Now, I'm not going to explain the 7 cause and 1 result of how to, that particular instructions, how to generate bodhicitta, because it's kind of hard for me to explain because a lot of people don't believe in life before this. So that first cause is like recognizing all mother sentient, all sentient beings as like your mother. So that's kind of hard to explain. So that's why I'm not going to explain that instructions.
Ta te pe ja no lo mo bo do jo yo re so. Mo che a de ge xie wa che ma yong fe du zong xie wa che ma to ne ke le go ma wa. Xie wa che ma ke me le ge mo mo yo re. Te yi da xie wa che ma me se nge de zo lo. Ne xie wa nga ma yo ba de do go yo re. Xie wa nga ma che yo ai da tan de le xie ma che wo yong ge de se ne. Xie wa nga ma yo ba de do go yo re.
So Jangpempa, there's like particular non-Buddhist like I say theory or like philosophy called Jangpempa. So they don't believe in life after this life, that they don't believe in next life. So this particular group, so first you need to explain to them, so there is life before this, instead of talking about life after this, because they completely deny there's no life after this.
Se wa nga ma yo ba da nga ro su ga re de chen chen de lo ma ka je ma yin nga la chen ro gu du ga ma ka je ma che ne la da wa chi re chen ro gu du ma ka je lo che re chen du ka she ya ju go che de gu du ga te se wa nga ma che yo se wa nga me ge le sa to go to che re ma do chen de le che ba che jo re s ro ba te ne ka she le ma ka she le chen de le ka le chong ju de nga chong ju nyo ne ro gu du ga 가셔를 텐들을 쳐보지는 로건 누가서 어때서 강가로 세왕가마 제가 세왕가메가 내가서 내가 제조하면 텐들 지복 자원이네 말했어.
So in this life, the life, very life that we all can see, there's also like it's not all same. Some die in the mother's womb, some die after they are born, like few years. Some died when they reach like old age, like and also. Some people struggle all their life. Some people life has become relatively easier. All this, nothing to do with this life. There must be something to do with life before this.
Correct.
Tedre damira
Oh, te ita ta te ale ngaro so kora mo bo chi ja go de mo ta ngaro so ja se shawa le go shong chu chu de sai she to de wa de so. Te ngaro so lo So
now another instructions, the quintessential instructions, how to generate bodhicitta, coming through Master Shantideva. So that's the one that I think we should all understand. So I'm going to explain that.
다 가르래 저는 선제 통화제 소소를 까지 첨부레스. 그래서 소소 제보 능안에 다네 안에 세제도서 봐 야와 도전을 야보 자원이는 세제도서 까지 첨부레스. 그래서 선제대 까지 첨부레. 대가로서 응안에 돈에가 가로서 저 잘라 예나나 요새 강한로로 세제 예산에 용거요라면 소소 마치게 되는 용화 자원에 요마래. 세제 예산에 용거요래. 대 현재 면적 고마지가 가로 가반 돈을 대 나가요. 세제 예산에 대노네 가로서 신바 생각돼. 한 레벨까지 첨부레. 그래서 가로서 사야매봐. 심하면 로또 요마래. 로또면 사야매봐. 더서 깔래 가지 작거든. 녀마 차도 사야 뭔데 그러봐 아니 잡았던 것도 세야요 아마래 심바서서 깔래자 걸어서 돼서 등하로서 농시에가 열어봐 한 레벨까지 전부해서 심바대.
So here like we need to remember the kindness that we receive from other living beings. So it's not fair just work for yourself, liberated from samsara. That's not really fair because amount of kindness that we receive, we need to work for others' welfare or for their enlightenment. So when you think about, so in this life that, like I've been telling them wherever I go, I've been reminding people that it's very important for all of us to remember the kindness of other living beings. So particularly for the farmers, all the food, you can't eat money, so money you cannot eat. What you eat is food. Food has been growing by farmers, regardless of what kind of weather, the heat, cold, rain, they work day in, day out. So that's how the food is in, that the very food that we consume produced by farmers. It's very important to remember their kindness.
이제가노 이거 소소그 늘로 개한데 소이나 용라 아니 소소소소 나올 배제 도야도 소 이나라 강 뭐지가 깔래자네 그 용어를 맞아 소소 제보 다와년에 제토요 말was.
All these things, you are not born with money, you are not born with the food, you are not born with clothes. Everything that we consume, use, is all produced by other living beings.
대노네 단에 단단 가로서 예데 가리 첨보 임마데 가르래 주시는 예 매는 소도 집어 대다 자원이네 요 말에 예 로바치 매는 소도 집어 대다 자원이네 요 말에 제 예데 가리 첨보데 배나 다단 가로서 될 노트케라는 코로서 대야데 뭐 댕에 현도 요에다 소소 대야면 소소 집어 있는 두는 대사 매봐 그지 대이다 드니 전에 소노 동에는 제 세제 강한으로 문에 도는 거 가리 첨보세는 야보래요 그래서
Without other kindness, it's like hard. You can't survive by yourself. Even just living is harder. If you just live by yourself, it's harder. So you are living in North Carolina because there are other people living there. If nobody's living there, you probably not will live here. So, will you stay if there's nobody here in North Carolina?
요 말이 제당 제매는 소소 용사 자원이네 요 말. 대이다 제 생각에 시라가 가지 첨보래서네 자세 저발 로또 첨보이다 제 생각에 할레베 가지 첨보래서 소소는 갈래서 동인 소소 내는 때문에 래 소소 정도 있어.
Master Shanti, there was put so much emphasis on like kindness, kind of kindness that we receive from due to other living beings. So if we think very carefully, that's very true. What Shanti Deva said is very true.
대송자 단다대 알랭아로 손지때 마찬가지나 내솔로 예선도 가리 첨보 임마테레 당가로도 라나메바 용다바 조베 성제 공부 토발라 제 데레조 가리 채와레 제 세제 매는 가로도 성제야 자원이네 요 말레스 매바 가르르 세제 매나 가로서고다 니제 고사 요 말레 제바 고사 요 말레 점바동사 요 말레 그봐 제매야 예자더네 파셔트가 녀레 매는 성제야 자네 요 말와 대매다 sen제면은 아니 니제사 요 말에 니제면은 정주지 세매야 대매에다 아니 라나마도 바조베 손요 고모 토야 요 말에서
These are all deeply interconnected. So the thing that I just mentioned is like mundane life. So we can survive without kindness of other living beings. So when it's come down on spiritual practice, even more without other sentient beings, you can practice compassion, generosity, patience, so on and so forth. Without compassion, there will be no bodhicitta. Without practice of patience, generosity, or 6 perfections, there will be no enlightenment. So that's how important other living beings. For not just for your mundane success, also spiritual success, you need other sentient beings. Without that, there will be nothing, no spiritual achievement.
세제 노도 자와래 성제 친도 나와라 자라 계제 대에서 세제 남에 제유 출세다 뒤된다다 가래도 세제도 성제 니가라 때는 가로 돌아라면 용다바 조베 성제 공부 토거근 누가스 그봐 세제도 성제 니가라 때는 순대 제닐라 나라면 용다바 조베 성제 공부 토거근 누가스 토가에서 저로도 성제를 배 기자 셔보제 세제를 통치 제거도 대 가르래서는 저와 동아래서
Yeah, Shanti was kind of wondering that we equally need enlightened beings and like also sentient beings. Our like fully enlightenment is very much dependent on equally both on enlightened beings and sentient beings, and you show so much respect for enlightened beings. When it comes down to sentient beings, you just ignore them. Shantideva is kind of wondering, what is that?
Mone tone de no gasete. Ye tajere no da ngaro so tongchu senanda ni se zo ta de sechel chegunduga.
No.
Roba. 근데 찬데대와 세와 노제가 송제사 되는 세제사는 송제가 건도가. 대 예나요 나로서 그텔 통치죠. 던람으로 제대야 돼. 야보 말에서 대가 놓고요. 그래서
The bottom line here, what Master Shantideva was indicating is like we look down on not on the enlightened beings, but we look down on sentient beings. We being harsh on them, critical, all kind of things. And bottom line, without them, you won't achieve enlightenment.
대다 전에 당다데 나로서 그 제 세제의 조 제거를 소소 조 제제요 말에서 그봐 바 이제 세제의 조 제거를 대그 거 가르다 손제 조된 데가 뭐만 나와 논제 내가 선에 세제의 조제 소소 조 마체바래서 마체바이다 다 나로서 도마 매반에 소조 조제 세제의 야와 도자요래 다 대니 야세 샤와래가 모모케데 시 그거 말해서 하고 들어봐 모두 세다 제제게 시바롱게 대세도 도와전제 된자반더니 진에 제바 되으세네 손제 조된 데가 도마 매반에 세제 조제네 제대 조제네 소소 야와 도와래서 나로서 그 도마 매반에 소소 조제네 오늘 돈에 자와 제보도 소소 조제네 노래서 아 손제제 살을 설레는 매 따사요래 따쇼스요래서
So Master Shantideva said like Shakyamuni Buddha himself right from the beginning always thinking about like others' need, always prioritize others' need, others' well-being, and we we prioritize our only need and we don't care about others' need. So Shantideva saying, now look, where is Shakyamuni Buddha? It's only enlightened. Where are we? Because right from the beginning, we put so much emphasis for only our needs. We don't put any effort for others' need. So Shantideva said, no need to say much, just look now. You will see very clearly.
대이다 다 알아서 손제 조된데 그 전주에 자세 샤와를 전주에 봐 강계의 전주에 도서 강계가 아니 제 세제 조전에 로 소소 야와 도와래 대이다 알아서 되네 제 도에는 나 야로 다체래서
So we all follow the footsteps of Shakyamuni Buddha and Master Shantideva. So that's what they did. So they prioritize welfare of other living beings compared to your own needs. So, and we need to try all our best to follow their footsteps and to put others, think about the well-being of other living beings.
다 예 세제의 조저도 다 마게 세제 통한 제제도 까지 뭐 이자 아마레 세고요 말에 그러봐 당게들은 예제 명화 대제고는 등에 아마레세네 대세고로 야세 자발에 아마레 세고 말에 세제 강간로로 까지 첨보래 누가 알아서 세제산에 용가야 존재래 누가 대이다 된 까지 첨보가 세제도서 마자네 소소 집어 고발에 도와래 야보 문제에서는 되네 마게 세제 통제제 된다라는 뭐 용다바 주베 손제 고모 토바 자고세네 아니 전제 쪽도 세세 말에서
Master Shantideva was not saying this all living beings are your mother. What he is saying is they are like their amount of kindness that you receive from them. So that's the truth. So then based on that understanding, deeper understanding, the kindness, amount of kindness we receive from other sentient beings. So based on that knowledge or understanding, so need to work for the fully enlightenment in order to benefit all mother sentient beings.
다네 정조조도 세세버 체베가서 정조조도 세세 차례를 아니 레가데 자세제 셔바 파로도 셔바 틀라 라야 데레스
And after like generating bodhicitta, what's your main practice? Your main practice will be 6 perfections. That will be your main practice after generating bodhicitta.
Already, that don't know your government.
Yes.
Ah,
Okay.
that not also Tamate, they eat and get also so no to do that, and is a lava is.
Today is the last class here at the center, so that's why I'm just give you a brief explanation about the practice of path, light of the path of enlightenment, actual practice.
Okay, the Pejan, Tadian, Rede on a Tisa, Gugundula, Chorosora, Tego Yome, Hakogumadus.
So if I look at the textbook, it probably take longer times. So that's why I kind of try to summarize.
Choroso, don't tell me that Tego Yome, the Shada Hako Togumadus.
When I look at your face, I'm not sure that how to do you understand or not understand, so I'm not sure. No, I'm just joking.
Pacha Trilla Laya de Jamba, Chetim, Seva, Chendi, something Shira to Trilla Laya de Res. Those who take to the Yamatawa, Chido Chil and Dogo.
So now the practice of 6 perfections needs to complement each other. When you practice them, then each practice needs to be complement to each other.
Okay, that to the Rene Sony Yama Geshini Shendu Kabores.
I hope these 2 Gishi will explain to you in detail in practice of 6 perfections.
That telling out of Tamati, Pemuseba Yapochungs, Moneton, Maroyanayong, Tandila, Dawachi Reno. Dawachi Reno, no shit, tell you, Pemuseba Yapochu, Nasan Chia Mashu. And I was a Gangalo Tonsi Tombo Pay Apochangaro, Meneton Choro Sultane, Shara Gaboshi Tenya Yapondus.
So all that, this is the last class, everything seems to went pretty well. So the weather is nice, I haven't got sick. So it's like month-long visit. So when I look down, all of you all walk harmoniously. So that gives me great pleasure to be here and see all of you.
So choose you on the social locus at the desert and Dagamo, the Marusina, the bush unit, Yalo to choose you as a tiger. Pemuseba Yapondus, Rava choose you on the 2 men at the boy on the Pacha Ronshija Mato, Tashichani Makedan Roduas. Choose you, the bush you target not on the Dubachino, Sono to Yores.
So because of Dharma teaching, so any kind of like struggle that we overcome pretty well because of having a Dharma practice.
So as
I mentioned before, like you can't really show, like physically show the impact of the spiritual practice. You can't really physically show. Therefore, it's like it's hard. It's hard for people to have interest in this spiritual practice.
Yeah, Choroso no, no gene should they are Choroso no, Pets Tumbo Yabo, Cheru, Pets Tumbo Yabo, Chenata, send the Deshi, Zawa the part. No Pets Tumbo Yabo at the rest.
So, as I requested many times throughout the teaching, so this life, the root cause of happiness for this life is harmonious within the community, within people. So that's very important.
It ain't no Maruso Doji Patus and own Yodo Shangega, Doji Patus, Lamachis and Oma Yodo Shangetel, Doji Patus, Doji Patul party seeing about the Tenedes telling you about Pemuseba Saga or rest.
Especially when you receive the initiation from one Lama together, you become like spiritual brother and sister. So then need to have extra cautions, not to look down, criticize, or to work harder.
That Angarusundi Nolo Maze Torusu, Nomayina, Garina, Torusanga Tomboya Bochi, the Shadow Ketcha Bores.
Not just here, so broader pictures, so even with the family members, all of that. So getting along, harmonious atmosphere is key to root cause of our happiness, this life.
And it's also lo no sa ya ga se le yo re so so ge pi pin ja yin na da po po yin na da te so la yo lo jo ya bo chi te ga re lo jo de sha da ke chen bo re ale nge le chu ke ja ma re sa lo jo ya bo te ya de sha da ke chen bo re ane te no ne da so ge te le ane chu ge lo jo te to no de pa so ba re te me na yo lo jo ya bo chi te lo jo yo ba do lo jo me ba ni za wa ni ne da ge men de
So also I think it's important to provide the younger ones in your family, provide them good educations. So on top of that, if you can offer them like spiritual, like knowledge, that will be fantastic. So it's very obvious someone with knowledge and without knowledge, there's big differences you see in people's life. Someone who's knowledgeable, someone who has no knowledge, there's big differences.
Tene zone, Rabo solo pe, Chigo Lojo Tetono, Chushikana Yabo Tegina Yabo Yores, Matoya Chembo de Ta Cabores.
So for the children, from the young age, if you manage to give them some spiritual advice, it's much more effective. So when they grow older, it's going to be harder.
Boggle Chigo Lojo Yabo Tejang, the Gemma Sozo Gengo Chagre, Puggy Sozo Tato Kakachi or 10 day orders.
So that's like definite, that makes huge differences. If you give the kids when they're young age, if you give them like spiritual advice or like knowledge, so when they grow up, so they will turn out be different towards parents, and someone who doesn't have any knowledge about spiritual practice. So that's pretty much guarantees.
Yeah, thank you
very much. So that's all. And everything went well. Thank you very much. So today is the last class, so then I'm requesting you again, so do whatever you can do, spiritual practice.
So inji told Devon Ramada Momonduas, Tenichi Lu Jaromuche Kalazona, Teni Lu in a Shera Inji Sugar Wakoros, Tiaboyores.
You all know English very well, so there's many books written by His Holiness the 14th Lama available, so reading those books will help you.
Me Shedja Kashel, Nomal Kanichan Shua is a Tebetene toes a Teni Lune, Teninga, Nomal Shua is a Duas.
When I ask some foreigners how you become interested in Buddhism, they say, I read books written by His Holiness. So,
call it Tache Chogura, Yaji made it telling you go Yamar, Carre and do Mother Tache Yapo Chajana, Tene, Yabo on the tennis was a television on the Yabo Reman Shajan on the Nengo Yamares.
You don't have to believe when you read about Buddhism, you don't have to believe. You can just analyze. If you find out there's if you find out if it's very effective, then you can accept. Or if it doesn't find out very effective, then you can just leave. You don't have to believe.
Yeah, to chat out and the Naroga, Toroso Yabo to Shuna, so Losechi,
I also, deep down from my heart, I wish all of you succeed.
Then to chat out is.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rinpoche mache pana shejeji shewa nyamba mewa ya kone kondo pewa shuo pama senje tangje dedan ngenro tangje dadang tongwa dan shunje senpa kana deda kunje melon drejir
Gyave Shilatan, Tende Lowa Mebe Dembo, Dage Lasam Tabe, Tuzoji,
Membi
Mebe,
Dega de la Nyondro Shu Saji
Peje
Peje
Juja
Shashi
Medo Tawa, Rira Leje,
Nyeda Jibando
Sanje
Sanje
Shindo,
Shila
Midembu Waye,
Logo Nanda Shila Shebo Shu Jiza Lami
Kuzera
Kuzera
Denje,
Deji Losa
Namgatile,
Tele
Chojo
Shunji
Jabada, Losa
Losa
Tembe,
Tembi Domi Sasanje Ndoye
Ndoye
Mese
Meza
Dada
Dada,
Nejur Ji Ye No
Muro
Gararana
Rana
Mendala
Mendala.
Kanaya Tayo
That's really Chatsuma. Yeah, Rinpoche said, no need to do post-stations, no need to raise the last class, no need to post-stations. So this is not doing post-station the last class or teachings that create the cause. It's considered as like auspicious amen to next time to receive teaching again.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.